Silence is a valid semantic unit. Trans-temporal minimalism series. Hello everyone, welcome back to our series on trans-temporal minimalism. So far we have already covered three important principles out of the seven fundamental aspects of this movement. We understood time is not linear but accumulative. The human is no longer the center. Objects carry memory better than narratives. Today we move to the fourth and one of the most powerful principle. Silence is a valid semantic point. And let's talk about its principle. Absence communicates as powerfully as speech. Let's understand this carefully. Trans-temporal minimalism argues that meaning is not created only by what is spoken or written. Meaning is equally created by what is withheld. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is not weakness. Silence is not failure. Silence is active meaning. In this theory, let's talk about why the word is so important. Not important, important. Let's talk about the limit of language, power, and power of silence. Language tends to explain, define, fix meaning, but silence suggests open interpretation, preserves depth. When we try to put grief, love, shame, fear, or reverence into words, something reduces. Words simplify experience. Silence protects intensity. Language breaks experience into pieces. Silence allows experience to remain whole. Silence in everyday life. We experience this daily. Not answering a question can signal resistance. Silence after an insult shows dignity. In grief, silence often speaks more than condolences. Here, silence doesn't mean nothing. It means more than words can carry. Silence in literature. Modern literature uses silence structurally. Gaps, pauses, fragmentation, unfinished sentences. Writer T.S. Eliot, Samuel Beckett, and Franz Kafka use silence to express spiritual emptiness, moral hesitation, existential doubt. For example, in Eliot's line, between the idea and the reality falls the shadow. That shadow is silence. It is the space where meaning is felt but not fully spoken. Silence in philosophy and spiritual thought. Across traditions, Buddhist meditation, Sufi contemplation, and Upanishadic idea of neti-neti, truth is approached not through speech but through silence. Why? Because when reality is infinite, language is inadequate. Silence becomes the most honest response. Social and political silence. Silence can also reveal power. It may indicate oppression, fear, censorship, erased voices. When certain voices are absent, that absence speaks loudly. What is missing often reveals what is controlled. Why this matters in trans-temporal minimalism? In a world of constant noise, endless commentary, and oversharing, restraint becomes ethical. Silence. Silence resists oversaturation. In this moment, gaps are intentional, pauses are meaningful. What is unsaid carries weight. Silence is not outside the text, it is a part of the structure. A short poetic illustration. Let me end. Let me explain with a short example. The weight of the silence. The room holds its breath. Windows closed against sound. A chair tilts without a hand, and the clock swallows its own tick. Words hang unspoken like shadows on the wall. Even the air listens, waiting for nothing to arrive. Notice, nothing dramatic happened, yet silence is heavy. That is the principle. How silence strengthens trans-temporal minimalism. Now let's connect silence directly to trans-temporal minimalism. Remember our first principle, time is not linear but accumulative. Silence plays a crucial role in making this possible. Silence creates temporal density. When a writer pauses, omits, or leaves something unsaid, time doesn't move forward, it gathers. A silent moment is in a text holds memory, awareness, anticipation. Instead of progressing, the moment thickens. Silence shows narrative time and allows accumulative time to appear. Next point, silence prevents narrative rush. Linear storytelling moves quickly, event to reaction, to explanation, to conclusion. But silence interrupts this flow. It creates stillness. And in stillness, time plays layers itself. This is central to trans-temporal minimalism, meaning settles rather than advances. Silence allows object to speak. When language reduces, object gain a presence. A chair in a quiet room, a ticking clock suddenly stopping, an empty doorway. In silence, these objects hold memory. They become carrier of accumulated time. Silence reduces ego. Trans-temporal minimalism removes the human ego from the center. When character speaks less, the environment speaks more. Silence decentralizes the self. It shifts focus from what I feel to what remains. Silence preserves the provisional nature of language. We have also discussed another principle. Language is provisional. Silence acknowledges this limitation. Instead of pretending that words can capture everything, the text admits there are experience beyond articulation. This humility is philosophical strength. In trans-temporal minimalism, silence is not decoration, it is structure. Silence allows time to accumulate, it allows meaning to deepen, it allows reality to remain complex. Without silence, the moment collapses into ordinary minimalism. With silence, it becomes temporal philosophy. In literary terms, trans-temporal minimalism is theoretical and aesthetic approach that combines minimal language with non-linear accumulative temporality. In simple academic language, trans-temporalism is a mode of writing in which form is minimal, time is dense, meaning is indirect, silence is structural, and narrative progression is secondary to temporal depth. Position within literary history. It can be understood as extending modernist concern with fractured time, refining minimalist restraint, and incorporating phenomenological awareness of lived temporality. However, it differs by emphasizing temporal accumulation rather than fragmentation. In one sentence, trans-temporal minimalism is the art of expressing layered time and existential depth through disciplined minimal form. I would like to brief the development of TTM, trans-temporal minimalism. Right now, TTM is best described as a developing literary framework or conceptual model, not yet an established literary movement in the academic canon. It is, you can say, a theoretical proposal, an aesthetic approach, a philosophical orientation toward time and language. It is not yet a historically recognized literary movement. It is not yet a formally institutionalized theory. It is not yet a school with multiple published practitioners. So can it be a theory? Yes, in a preliminary sense. TTM qualifies as a theory because it offers a structured set of principles, 7 aspects, and every aspect is of high importance that contribute greatly to this theory. It provides a way to interpret literature. It proposes a model of time, language, and meaning. It has philosophical grounding. However, for it is to become an academic theory, it would need formal publication, peer engagement, critical debate, application to text beyond your own writing. So can we call it a literary movement? Not yet. A literary movement usually requires multiple writers practicing similar ideas, a shared historical movement, public recognition, manifestos, publication, and influence. At present, TTM is more accurately a proposed aesthetic movement. Is it in its formative stage? So what should it be called? The most academically responsible description would be a contemporary literary philosophical framework, an emerging aesthetic models, a theoretical proposition, a conceptual literary approach. If writing formally, I would say trans-temporal minimalism is a proposed literary philosophical framework that reconceptualizes time as accumulative and meaning as structurally minimal. What does it become? When does it become a movement? It becomes a movement when others adopt it, when it is cited, when it influences writing beyond its origin. It inserts academic discussion. Movements are recognized by communities, not declared by individuals. Final and honest position. TTM is currently an articulated conceptual framework with theoretical ambition. It has the structure of a theory. It has the potential of a movement, but historically, it is in its origin phase. And in this episode, we come to know that silence is a valid semantic point. Silence is not the absence of meaning; it has meaning without articulation. In the next episode, we will explore the fifth principle: no redemption is promised. Until then, reflect on this. Where in your life is silence already speaking? Thank you very much for watching. Have a good day.